Hey, it's travelgigolo and we're at Tsendze Rustic Camp in the Kruger National Park. Nearest access gate is the Palaboa gate, and then you've got to drive through to Mopani reception to check in, and then back to Tsendze, which is about a 10-minute drive. It's all tar from Palaboa to Mopani. There's just a short piece of gravel road from that main tar road to the campsite. What type of vehicle do you need to get here? It's mostly tar road. The short bit of gravel road is really good, so you can come here in pretty much any kind of vehicle. Easy to get you with a trailer or a caravan as well, so no special requirements if you're towing. There's no electricity. However, there are shared taps for the campsites. There's no lighting, of course, because there's no electricity. There are dustbins on each site. There's a nice braai stand as well with a grid on top of it too, so you don't have to worry about having a grid. The braai is a standard sandbox braai, which is a pole with a dish and a grid on top of it. There's no fire pit, or there are no fire pits on the campsites. Lots of shade. The campsites are set in this Mopani woodland, which is very nice. I love it that there's shade, especially in the heat of the day. If, however, you have a solar setup, which you might have because there's no electricity here, then just be aware of that. It's a little bit difficult to get your solar panel set up. You've got to keep moving them around because the shade obviously keeps moving around. Surface is basically soil, no grass, and it's semi-sandy, so not particularly prone to being muddy, but not particularly prone to not being muddy if it rains. Size and privacy varies quite significantly over the campsites, so some of them are demarcated on their own with short pieces of bush in between, and some of them are shared in a larger clearing. So it really depends on which campsite you're on. There are campsites where there's 3 or 4 campsites in a single clearing, and then there are sites like ours, which is 2 campsites in the clearing, and then there are individual campsites. They're all very close to each other, so even when you have individual campsites, it's just a little strip of bush that's separating yourself from your neighbor. Now, you can book your campsites when you do your booking. So campsites are assigned. So if you're going to come with a caravan trailer or a large setup or a number of people, I would recommend that you look first at the campsites and then choose an appropriate one. Now, when I say you can request your campsite, pinch of salt there. You may not get the campsite that you've requested. Bathrooms, very nice bathrooms, hot water by gas, solar lighting, so be aware of that. If you're going to use a bathroom at night, please switch the lights on and switch them off when you leave, because it is a solar system with a limited amount of battery, of course, but very nice hot showers, toilets, basins, and the typical things that you would expect in a bathroom setup. There are also outdoor showers at the bathrooms, which is very nice, especially on a nice warm morning like it is today. So that's a great feature of the bathrooms here. Now, speaking of a nice warm morning, we are here in August, the beginning of August, and it's hot. So it gets really hot here, especially in the height of summer. So if you're going to come here at that time of year, be aware of it and be prepared, have some sunscreen, and just know it's going to be really hot. There is a kitchen and wash-up area, so that has a couple of gas stoves as well, very convenient to have. There are wash-up basins with hot and cold water. There's also an area to wash your clothes and stuff, so big wash thingy for washing your clothes, hot and cold water. And as with some of the sites in the Kruger National Park, there's also a chest freezer, so you can freeze some of your stuff there. Now, the chest freezer is a gas freezer, so manage your expectations. Purchaseables, none. There is no reception, so to speak, at this campsite. You've got to go back to Mopani, where there is a shop, and you can buy typical stuff there that you would require, like firewood and ice and so on. The Kruger shops are generally pretty well stocked, so you'll get all your drinks and stuff there. So yeah, I suppose, you know, bring what you need to the campsite, but you can get stuff at the shop at the Mopani reception. There's lots of fuel at Mopani, so you can get petrol or diesel pretty easily. Like I say, it's maybe a 10-minute drive from the campsite itself, so fuel is not a stress. The nearest town is Palaboa, which is right outside the Palaboa gate, maybe a 5-minute drive or less. So there's large shops and stuff there, so you can get most stuff that you could possibly want. Gate times while we're here in August, 6 morning to 6 p.m. Obviously that varies through the year, so it might be 6:30 to 5:30 in winter, for example, and a bit later and earlier in the summer. So just be aware of that and note that you need to be back in Tsendze campsite at gate closing time. It's nice that the campsites are assigned. I wish all parks would be like that. It just makes it so much easier, and so you don't have to worry specifically about your arrival time. You've got a pre-assigned site, so whatever your site's going to be is what it's going to be, and that's great. There's no cell phone signal at the campsite, or if there is, it's very limited. There's a bit of cell phone signal at Mopani and some data signal as well, but at the campsite it's pretty much void of cell phone signal, which I like, which is good. Maintenance, campsite is very well kept. Bathrooms are in great condition, kitchen areas in great condition. Everything works, no complaints at all. Shout out to Elena and Rodger, who are the famous camp wardens at this campsite, and they're doing a great job of keeping it all as it should be ideal. It's fantastic. Camping costs, it's about 400 Rand for 2 people camping here. Of course, that price will change annually as well, so check it out before you do your booking or when you do your planning. There's also conservation fee to get into the Kruger National Park unless you have a wild card. And those costs I've mentioned are for South African citizens, so it will be slightly different if you are not a South African citizen. Activities, so birding. This campsite is famous for its scops owl population, so look out for those and speak to Elena or Rodger. They'll often point out to you where they are. Not easy to spot if you don't know what you're looking for, because they blend in very well with the trees. There's no swimming pool here, there's no hide. In fact, insofar as activities are concerned, you're pretty much here to either chill in the campsite or go out into the Kruger National Park. It's a great area for birding. The forest here is relatively dense, so sightings are not that easy, but very close by is the Tsendze River. In fact, the campsite's on the Tsendze River. There is a picnic site close by. There's a great hide as well, fairly close by, so some good sightings there. So surprisingly, we have not had or seen any monkeys, baboons, etc., the typical raiding animals, and we've been here a couple of times and it has not been the case. We haven't seen any monkeys or baboons. The biggest pest probably is the set of hornbills that come into the campsite and are continuously looking for food. So please don't feed the birds, don't feed the animals. Otherwise, it's pretty chill in respect of having to be concerned about animals raiding your food stuff and so on is concerned. Hazards to take note of. Of course, it gets really hot here, especially in the summer. So be aware of that. And of course, wear closed shoes at night. What type of camper is this for? It is a little bit off-grid because there's no electricity, but other than that, there's pretty much everything here that you could normally wish for, although there are no shops and there's no swimming pool and that sort of stuff. So it's a pretty easy place to camp. I think pretty much anyone can come here. Just know that there is no electricity and no lighting and no cell phone signal. So quick recap, what is there in the campsite? Braai stands, dustbin, tap as well. Taps are shared, good shade in the campsite. There are nice bathrooms with hot and cold water. It's a kitchen area with gas-fired stoves and also wash-up areas, hot and cold water. There's a gas freezer. There is lighting in the bathrooms, which is solar lighting. What's not here? No electricity and no lighting, no shops. So you've got to go to Mopani, which is fairly close by. Other than that, there's not really anything else. There's no swimming pools and that sort of stuff. It's pretty much a camper's campsite. So would I recommend Tsendze Rustic Camp? Yes, absolutely. Love the campsite, love the way it's set up. Like it that there is nice separation between the campsites as well. So it's not like some of the larger campsites in the Kruger National Park where I think it tends to feel a little bit more crowded. And it's also really isolated. It's not near any gates and that sort of thing. So really like this campsite. So hope you enjoyed that, hope you found it informative, and hit the like button if you did. Give a comment or a question below if you have any comments or questions. It's always good to hear from you guys, and until the next episode, go everywhere, see everything, have a great time.